In the building, another Odyssey exclusive here at the People Station, V-103. Greg Street sitting with the legendary Slick Rick.
What's up? What's up, Greg?
Incredible day in the ATL yesterday.
Yes.
JD's victory party after the game.
Right.
On the patio with DJ Jelly in Snellville.
Right.
And up in the morning.
Right.
Is this taking you back to the beginning?
No, just enjoying, like, it's almost like you're in a retirement state of mind. Just moving with the fam, you know what I mean? Bringing the children around, let us have a little fun, you know?
A lot of fun.
Yeah.
Let's take it back to meeting Dougie Fresh at a showcase.
Right.
What was that like? Give me that moment.
Well, Doug used to perform by himself, you know. He had records out before me and stuff. And I saw him at this place called Escape Fever. It's in New York in the Bronx. And I just was pestering him, yo, put me on. You know how we do, you know. Put me on, I got to consider all that kind of stuff. So, but he ignored me, you know what I mean? Act nice, but, you know, nothing that happened. So next time I saw him was at a rap contest that they used to have in New York City. They used to have like a $1,500 prize. And they had everybody sign up, pay their dues and all that. So Doug was one of the judges. So I jumped on the stage with my friend. I wasn't even in it. He just asked me to jump on with him. Jumped on with him. We said something like a lottie dottie, and we pretty much won it. But you know how the game go. They shut the place down. Say fire marshal kind of. No money coming in. You know what I mean? But Dougie did notice me. You know. So after Dougie noticed me, he carried me around with him to do lottie dottie and stuff like that. He paid me a little something till I had to quit my job. So that's the history of how I came into the higher tax bracket. You know what I mean?
Got in the game.
Yeah.
So Dougie had the eye, saw you at the showcase. You guys record Lottie Dottie. You record the show, comes out on reality.
Right.
Goes crazy. I can remember the first time I heard the show on the radio. It was like
Right.
incredible record.
Thank you.
Then with like a year, 2 years later, then Def Jam.
Right.
How'd the Def Jam deal come about?
I guess Def Jam saw me out there, you know, and try to recruit kid. And that's, you know, Leo Cohen, you know. So I met Leo Cohen, he recruited me. Me and Doug went our separate ways. It wasn't no real hard feelings. It was just like the money was getting cut. Felt a little unfairly. So I had to move on, you know what I mean? And that's how that separation came about. Got with Def Jam, made an album, The Great Adventures of Slick Rick. And the funny thing is when I was working with Dougie, I got more money. I got more money from the record label than when I was with Def Jam.
Wow.
I don't know. There's all this, you know how they do that refund. You got to pay back all this type of stuff. So anyway, not to mess up the mood or nothing. You know, that's what happened. Kids, you know.
So you got introduced to the major situation and the independent situation at an early age.
Right. I got introduced to the game early. You know what I mean? And then I just had to sit in the cut. Let mom and dad do what they got to do in the process of taking the chains off the black business.
Now, coming from London, coming to New York as a kid, growing up in this whole culture and like being a pioneer, like you, one of the most sampled artists in hip hop history. Everybody sampled your music from Biggie to Notorious Big to Beyonce to TLC to everybody.
Right.
That is like has to be an accomplishment within itself to hear your voice or hear something that you composed on all these different records.
Yeah, it was a nice feeling, you know. Plus, it kept my pockets alive, you know, in those drying stages. You know what I mean? So, thank you, family, for mentioning me, using me in your records.
How was it making this record though? This album is so important to hip hop. Like it is so much part of the main foundation of what we know as hip-hop today because there wasn't many artists really making complete albums back then. And you didn't just make a complete album. This was a body of work that was like priceless and timeless.
Right. Thank you.
Like you had some amazing records on this project. Like the DJ just wasn't in the records. We wasn't just in the clubs playing the single. You had so many songs from Mona Lisa to Hey Young World to, of course, The Show. I mean, not the show, but this children's stories. It was so many records on this album. Like, but for us, looking at this thing now, because back then, if you wasn't a DJ, they didn't really talk about you that much as a producer. Like, who were you working with? Like, what was the chemistry behind the scenes and making these records happen?
Well, I know what kind of music I like and I can fly on, so I just pretty much make my own music. If a cat comes with a track that I can work on, I can fly on, I'll take his track. So that's how I move. So that's why you see 75% of the albums is all me, and then 25 is the producers. Because you can't depend on somebody else to make your career, because then you'll lose.
Wow. Slick Rick in the ATL, the new project, Victory. It's been out since summertime.
Right.
Talk to me about it.
Victory was an album I just came out with, me and Idris. Shout out to Nas. We just came out an album, feed our puppies, you know what I mean? And bring back the strength of hip hop. It's got to be back up there like value, So we showing value to other ethnicities, Italian, Irish, Asian, Pakistani, Indian, Latin. We showing that the black man still also has value. You know what I mean? So we just showing value, and then we draw people towards us like that. Hip hop has already taken over somewhat. You know what I mean? Some forces that may want to try to push us out of hip hop and into country and K-pop, but we got to keep that flame alive. Show our value and where the world was going or is going.
Well, the foundation of influence is definitely timeless. It'll never go anywhere. A lot of people try to branch it off and take it to other places, but it's still the foundation. The culture is just so dominant that it's going to be impossible for it to go anywhere.
Right.
Like, we bring so much to the game. Like, Slick Rick wasn't just also music. You was fashion. You was jewelry. Like, I was reading in one of your pieces where they were talking about, like, you looked at the jewelry that was part of your costume, your Superman costume. It was part of the whole armor.
Yeah. Well, I always look at myself as a mannequin, and it's all how you decorate a mannequin. You know what I mean? So if you think of yourself as a mannequin and you look in the mirror and then you try to decorate your mannequin, so every day you try to improve your mannequin's appearance, your reflection. So you already know the jewelry got to be big, you know what I mean? And your color game got to be on point. You got to look like you got charisma and swag, That's how we learn from our fathers and our mothers, Escalate mojo, So that's how that go.
We know, like, we can look at Run DMC and what they brought to the game with the jury, but they pretty much just, they rocked all black with the jury and the Adidas and the shell toes. But Slick Rick came in the game with what we call in these days the sauce. Like, you brought it.
Thank you. Man.
What was the inspiration for it?
It was where I was growing up. It's how children around me at my age had swag, could dress. You say, hey, that guy dresses nice, or that girl dresses nice. And you incorporate, you harvest beauty. You know what I mean? So when I was growing up and I saw beauty, we harvested. You know what I mean? It's just like when you go back to Lee jeans and mock necks and silver medallions and British Walkers. It had something, And when you put it on a mannequin, it looked good. So everybody started doing it. That's how certain things become fashionable. Like Timberland boots and jeans and a white T-shirt. It's like a starter kit, you know what I mean? Your money low, start like this. You start getting money, start moving up, like with the ice and all that. It's all about dressing up the mannequin so the mannequin has attraction, has appeal. Like, if I was to take a mannequin and put him on stage, I need him to have an impact. He has to have intrigue. He has to draw somebody to it. You know what I mean?
Attraction.
Yeah.
And then New York has always been like a fashion capital, and like as far as fashion, jewelry, the jewelry district, the diamond district, the fashion district with the shows where the buyers came to New York to buy the clothes for the different stores around the country. New York was always like a hub for what was going on in the world. So for you to have the vision, you were like probably one of the people that you were an early influencer to not just New York but the rest of the country once people saw your album cover, because we really didn't see you a lot when Lottie Dottie and the show came out.
Right. Yeah, I was just a puny little nigga trying to have some style, That's how it goes. I should have put some dark glasses on or some patches back then, but younger me, trying to raise the swag, the mojo.
What's like having all these classic records and being such an icon in hip hop from the foundation? And
well, it's good to hear from other people. Other people can say what they think I am, and then I just roll with it. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm doing. Just roll with what the people say they value. Like,
But to watch this full circle come back around for this music, like the music was so timeless. It's like you probably doing over 100 shows a year right now,
yeah.
based off of a project that came out in the 80s that was so impactful to what we call hip hop and culture today. Because it wasn't just for you. It wasn't just the music. The music, of course, was incredible, but the style and everything that you brought to the game. So, like for going on tour in 2025 and watching the crowd respond to these records all these many years later.
It's part of their childhood, you know? Different areas, different frequency of human, you know, like elder human. It's part of their childhood. So they sing, they know the words, they sing the words, it gives them a nice feeling. And then you just move in different areas, like go to now to the young generation with the new album and see if you can move them like you was their age. You study like, yeah.
But you still gotta think now, when you out and about and you seeing things move, you watching a kid 10, 11, 12, 13 years old singing these songs. Of course they were influenced from hearing it in the house with their parents or being around other people, but the way they try to divide the culture with the old and the young, like music that you made, like transcends all the different age groups.
Right, it's all about growth. You know what I mean? It's not really like separation. It's like youth is here and you grow. And if you grow in properly, you grow into Monets, you know, like that type of a vibes. You don't just, okay, when you hit like this ain't athlete. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people try to confuse rapping with athletes' longevity. You know what I mean? Like an athlete has like to about 45, 50, and then it's he got to retire, make sure he made enough money. But like with painters and artists and, you know, musicians, we don't have that problem about age and bones, and you know, it's coming from your mind, your soul, your breath, all that. So we can fly high and show that it's no separation, it's growth.
But the seeds, though, it all starts from that seed.
Right.
It's all from that seed that you planted in the 80s, making these timeless records. Like you said, we all the way up to 2025, and to go from 84, 85 to 2025 and still be selling out shows and still being booked on events and still being appreciated.
Right.
Because it's not a whole lot. But what you brought to the game and the seeds that you planted and the things that you created, like you said, going in the studio and you understanding what you wanted the music to sound like versus the producer just trying to tell you and show you what to do, you having a vision and being able to bring that vision to life and people just appreciate it on these different levels.
Right.
To be being booked and continuously booked in 2025, to be able to not just feed your family, but just to love the craft.
Well, it's your craft, you know, and if you don't see nobody taking care of your craft, sometimes you accidentally up there taking care of the craft, like mommy and daddy type, you know what I mean? Like, I'm up there like this. I don't really get caught up in the shows and all that type of stuff. Just try to make sure this is still relevant and strong and nutritious and feeding before, you know, because even though we don't see it, there's a lot of competition saying this group of people are beneath where we are and don't fall, you know, like that. So you got to show this has value, and you may have a wrong perception of equality. We have an audience, they want what we feed them. They don't want to have to depend on to feed us, because you're not feeding us as good as we could feed ourselves.
It's our lane. You created a lane. It's about people that love what you do, appreciating what you do, and want to pay to see you do it. And if you've never been to a Slick Rick show in the last few years, it still has that impact. When they say, "Ladies and gentlemen," and Slick Rick hits the stage, when MC Ricky D hits the stage, and the beat comes on, it's different. It's different.
Yeah, you got to know how to pick your beats too. A lot of mistakes with the music industry right now is they have a lot of icons, a lot of famous people, but they making music on corny tracks that don't move nobody. So remember, the music is 50% of the pie. You are the other 50%. You shouldn't have to break your neck to fill in the other side of the pie. You know what I mean? You just worry about the 50% and make sure the music move Negro. You know what I mean? Don't waste time with these corny beats and then wonder why your album ain't doing good. You know what I mean? You may be excellent in your craft, but if your craft can't fly because of the music, then you gotta address the music. So the people can fly like what the people want. We ain't got time to play like, you know what I mean? We Soul Train. Stop, like that, Move it. Let's get this moving.
The sound is very important. The sound is very important, man. Congratulations on the new project.
Thank you.
Make sure you stream it. Victory's on all platforms right now. Slick Rick, Victory presented by Slick Rick. And he also has the vinyl. Of course, you can stream it. But if you're a real Slick Rick fan, even if you don't have a turntable, this is a piece of art. This is a piece of art. It's the culture. Man, shouts out to JJ's Record Mart. Well, I bought my first Slick Rick record, 101 Tuscan Avenue in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Like, this is like, means so much.
Thank you, fam.
Stream it. In fact, stream the album. In the comments of this post, I want you to listen to the album and tell us what are your favorite tracks from the album. In the comments. What are your favorite tracks from the album? What and why these songs move you and why you love them. And of course, you might want to tap in with some of your favorite Slick Rick stories. You may have seen them on tour. You may have seen them just in the streets. You never know, because he's always that guy. MC Ricky D. MC Ricky D at the People Station V-103 on a Monday morning. So in 2025, on a Monday morning, Slick Rick is still working. Rewind it and listen to that again. In 2025, on a Monday morning, what is it, the 29th? September 29th? Slick Rick is up on a Monday morning after having a crazy weekend doing an interview talking about his new project. So for all you young artists who don't want to interview, you don't really want to post on your social media, you think you just all that already, hey man, this is how careers are built. And it's all about the long run. Slick Rick.
Yes, Greg.
The biggest. Slick Rick and Dougie Fresh. I know we got a new Slick Rick and Dougie Fresh project coming.
We're working on it.
I know you guys got a new project coming.
We're working on it. It's not hard to, just have my brother do the beatbox right, and then I just rap on top of it.
That's the first track on the album. The beatbox track is the first track on the album.
We work on that one for the day. Make it modern and future like, you know what I mean? It's a problem. I already see it. No diss.
Dougie's out here working too.
Yeah.
Always the world's greatest entertainer. Slick Rick the Ruler. Slick Rick the Ruler.